Do you remember what it was like growing up early on a Saturday morning? You're excited, school is over. You rush down into the living room and you're in your footy pajamas and you're turning on cartoons. You see Clark Kent, Bruce Wayne, Peter Parker. Life is good. But then imagine you're a young man by the name of Jamal and you begin to look at these characters that you idolize and you realize, now wait a minute. None of these characters look like me. Imagine you're a young man by the name of Jamal and you're getting yourself prepared for school for the following week. You're getting ready, you're excited to meet your teachers. But at the same time, you're also aware that there may be that one teacher that you just can't stand to see that will say, you don't belong here and I don't think you're going to make it. Imagine it's Monday morning, 7:30, the sun is gently beginning to rise and the dew has settled on the grass. And as you begin to fill the hallways, as all middle school students do, fill up the hallways, go into their classrooms, young Jamal is anxious because he's sitting here wondering, is there anybody out there listening? Does anyone know my pain? Yes, there may seem like there are times I may burst out and it may seem disruptive to you, but the reality is, no, it's just what I'm used to. What you call disruptive, I call normal. And I know my teachers, I know they mean well. I know you really want to wipe away the tear from my eyes. I know you really want to take the pain out of my soul, but there's just some things you can't relate to, like being a young black man in America. Interesting. And then you have the audacity to say that when I show up the next day that it's my fault if I get sent out of class, it's my fault if I'm sitting at ISS, it's my fault. But is it my fault that I'm the product of a single mom with 2 younger siblings and then I'm not even aware if I'll get to eat at night because I let my younger brothers and sisters eat first? It's my fault? Interesting. And then I'm forced to accept narratives and positions that are far from the truth. But it's my fault. It's my fault that I grew up in a neighborhood that doesn't even really show the potential that is embedded and impregnated inside of me because of my hardworking mother that refused to allow a man to tell her what she can and can't be, but she would pull herself up by her own bootstraps and move forward. But it's my fault if I don't succeed. Do you not know that only 2% of America's teacher workforce is the African American male? In my home state of North Carolina, out of the 115 school districts, 11 of those districts just last year did not have one brown Hispanic teacher, and 8 of those districts did not have one black teacher. When asked about this specifically in Johnson County, which is located on the western part of North Carolina, they asked the superintendent, well, where are your people of color? He said, I would love to see different variations of my students in the classrooms, but the reality is they're not there. They're not coming here. And when asked why, he said, look, I would love to see black male teachers in my classroom, so I want my kids to see different variations of themselves so that they can know that they can make it, that they can be somebody. I would love to see it because he also understood that black male teachers are not just for young black boys and young black girls, but they are also for young white boys and young white girls. How do I know? Because I had a student to come to me. I can't tell you, it was my 4th period. Young man, he came to me, young Caucasian student, and he came to me and he said, Mr. D, why are you a teacher? Clearly, you can be doing something better with your life. This is what was said. And I looked at him and I said, son, I'm here for you. Because the reality is, I actually have the opportunity to teach at the very same middle school that I went back to. The very same middle school that I'm at now, I once attended. And the culture is vastly different. At a time when I had black women teachers, now to go back and to find them is like find a needle in a haystack. That's the culture that we have kind of grown up into now. I know my teachers, I know they mean well, I know they really want to help me. You know, it's quite interesting to be in a space where you see everybody and nobody at the same time. It's interesting to grow up in a neighborhood where the constant rhetoric is, you know what? If you make it, you do. If not, you can always come and cut my grass for me. You can always come back and be the local bagger. But what if that's not what I want to do? Why can't I be a doctor? Why can't I be an attorney? Why can I not restore the narrative that, you know what, teaching is a notable profession? So I stand before you today, as Senator Cory Booker said yesterday, probably more degrees than some may think I'm not hot. You see this school here? This is where I teach at. Southern Middle School, home of the Dragons. I take pride in it. And the bio says I'm 6th grade. As of a month ago, I was moved up to 7th. Pray my strength. And every day I have the wonderful opportunity to walk directly into my classroom and I can tell my kids, look them in the eye and say, you know what, you're going to be somebody. I see you. I look beyond all the yelling. I look beyond young Kanaya's all that yelling and loud talking that she's doing. And while my white female counterparts, while she may think that she's angry, no, she's just loud. One of my colleagues recently, before the school period had let out, she had all of her students to write letters about one teacher that in that entire school who had a significant impact on their life. Now, mind you, I wasn't aware of this assignment, so all of them, you can imagine the emotional influx I had when all of a sudden my desk was full of letters and mail saying how you were the reason I didn't drop out, and you were the reason I came to school every day, and you were the reason bullying stopped happening. So if young Jamal can walk into his living room and see on television superheroes that look like him, walk into movie theaters and see heroes who look like him, if I can get him to say the same thing about his classroom. You know, I stand here today, a proud success of yet another life-changing endeavor. I stand before you as a testimonial memorial of perseverance, dedication, and devotion. Why? Because Jamal was actually my story. And the reality is, I was blessed to be appointed by the governor recently to be the only African-American to serve on a top board in our state. Not only to that, but to have the opportunity to serve as a co-chair at NLC. Why? Because I understood that the biggest difference I could make was not on the main stage, but it was simply going back and telling young Jamal, I see you, and I'm here. God bless you.